All right, everybody. So, this is seemingly the last game of day one here. We're going to have Swim versus Cephalopod, but there's a lot going on. So, this is a round robin type portion of the day here. There was two pools of four people each, and two people make it out of each pool, right, to go into day two to make a top eight for the EU and the NA. So, as far as the pools are concerned, if there's a 3-0 and a 2-1, and then 1-2 and an 0-3, then the 2-1 and the 3-0 obviously make it through to day two. However, if there is for some reason a bunch of people tied at 1 and 2, as an example, there would be tiebreakers. So, for this game in particular, if Cephalopod is able to take home a victory versus Swim, then we will have some tiebreakers to go through before the end of the day. If Swim takes it, then Swim wins and ends, and he is advancing to day two. So, let's see who is going to be able to take this game home. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just going to say this game is fire. You do not want to be missing this game. And trust me when I tell you, you do not want to forget to subscribe to the channel, because if you turn on that bell, you're going to get notified when a lot of fire games go live, because we still have day two to get through. And man, this whole tournament was just absolutely amazing. So without further ado, Swim versus Cephalopod. Let's get into it. Also have Swim and Cephalopod about this. We will be able to get a full match. All three games, we promise.
You wanted to pick a Swim match to get the full match?
This is the only one we had a choice because
that's totally fair. Swim is on the edge of his tournament life here. He is 1-1. Cephalopod already eliminated at 0-2. But we will start off with Nightfall Aggro versus Twisted Fate Swain, which is not a matchup I thought I would be commentating this weekend.
No. But we do see it. So I'm actually I don't think have you ever seen this matchup? I don't think I've ever actually seen this matchup play out, to be honest with you.
Definitely not.
So I'm very curious to see who, if anybody, has the advantage and how it plays out. And again, just to update everybody who might just be joining, or maybe has been here a while, just wants an update on the standings. Swim needs to win to continue to advance to tomorrow, and that's assuming no tiebreakers happen. Cephalopod is already out and is no longer going to be able to qualify because he did go 0-2 in the first two matches here.
My pick'ems.
Yeah. Yeah, my pick'ems probably did not. I'm kind of scared to see.
I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised that I did the best out of us in EU, but I mean, who knows? I don't even remember what I picked for NA. Maybe I did the best out of us in NA too. We'll find out a little bit later on. I'm curious to see what these top 8 matchups are going to look like. I know that we already had EU earlier today. They've got their 4 players in there. Don't want to list them off for you because I am not 100% sure on the last one. I remember most of them, but we'll see who will be joining them in that cross shard play tomorrow. Swim is fighting to be one of them, and his hand's looking okay so far. Cephalopod hasn't really played to the board early, just a turn 1 Stygian onlooker, kind of, I guess, testing the waters, saying what kind of removal do you have available to you? Are you going to have to make it rain this one unit? And Swim says, no, I actually have the best turn 1 removal spell for this in Parlay.
Yeah, and Swim also playing Thermo Beams here in this deck. So I think, on the surface, I feel like the Ezreal TF is going to have a lot of tools to deal with a lot of the aggression early on by Cephalopod. Obviously, we have the Dreadway deckhands and things of that nature as well to kind of trade a little bit better with a lot of the units that we're going to see come out from Cephalopod, like the Crescent Guardians, like even the Dianas. The Dianas will probably end up dying to some of this removal too, like the Thermo Beam. So I'm curious to see if Cephalopod is going to be able to get anything to stick here, currently still having an empty board going into turn 3.
So there's not a lot of reactive removal out of Swim. As we had mentioned, there's no Mystic Shots, there's no Get Excited, there's no Static Shocks, nothing like that. So, anything like an Atrocity is actually just going to resolve. So that could be a win condition that Cephalopod could be leaning on a little bit harder if he can find that Atrocity early. Only playing 1 copy, it doesn't feel like something you can really set up for and be like, okay, I'm going to hang on to this Diana, all these Nightfall cards. and I guess just hope that I eventually draw the atrocity. But if it's already in his hand, if some of the pieces are already there, Cephalopod could be working towards like a turn 8 or 9 big combo kill.
Yeah, and that's what this deck does best. We saw Cephalopod kind of pull one out earlier. I believe it was in the first kind of the first matchups, not in the round robin. It was earlier today, kind of the double elimination four-way brackets there. And a big atrocity on something like a Diana. That was a pretty sweet top deck earlier today. We'll see if something similar is able to happen here with Cephalopod versus this TF Ezreal deck, which I'm sure Cephalopod probably didn't really prepare much for either. I got to imagine not a lot of people expected to see TF Ezreal a lot in this tournament.
No, and I would imagine that's one of the reasons Swim is having as much success with it as he is. Also, just given the fact that like this is a NAB deck and Noxus NAB was the most popular deck in Europe, so players still very much aware that the NAB deck is around. It's just sort of I'm playing a couple of Piltover and Zon cards rather than Noxus, and I'm a little bit more all in on that NAB package, and I think that's what's given him most of his success is the addition of these pilfered goods and the high chances of hitting the allegiance effect on the Yordle Grifter.
And we do see a Thermo Beam come out onto the Stygian Onlooker, so it's going to prevent.
That doesn't feel good.
Damage. No, it doesn't, but I think you do kind of have to do it because that Stygian represents a lot of damage. It's crazy how impactful that card can actually be for a one-cost card, but we also see Twisted Fate again. So 2 Twisted Fate in hand now going into turn 4. Swim's still at 18 health, so has been able to mitigate some of the damage thus far. Not the greatest tools in hand, though.
All right, you ready for this?
Lay it on me, Boulevard.
Let's talk about this Twisted Fate win condition. Because Swim has 8 draw in hand.
Yep.
And Cephalopod, the only way that he can kill this is with a Diana challenge or 2 Unspeakable Horrors or his atrocity. I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that why we get away with this.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly why we're seeing the blue card. This means it's going to be at 2 draws at the start of Cephalopod's turn. I am pretty positive. Does that mean we're going to have the mana? That's 6 mana. Do we have the mana to level it up going to Swim's next attack turn?
No, we're going to need 10 mana for all that.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're a little bit short there on the mana, unfortunately. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that this Twisted Fate here is one of the ways that Swim can very early, take this game home, because obviously Ezreal is not happening for a while. The new change for it being 10 targets, we've seen this deck win before. It's going to take a little while, and I don't think Swim can really. He can't afford to wait that long with a deck like what Cephalopod's playing, because it does have a lot of late game power with things like Cygnus and Atrocity. So if we are able to get this TF online that early, it's going to be huge. We have a black market merchant as well for some more potential draw. Very curious to see how Swim plays this out.
So just an update from the other side of the bracket, the match that we were watching earlier. Winding God is currently moving into game number 3.
All right. See if Winding God's able to secure his spot for tomorrow.
But in this game, we do see the Dreadway and Make It Rain combo. It's got some potential to miss. I think that it's not unreasonable for Swim to sort of overlook the TF win con and just try to get down a second Twisted Fate, because the red card does look pretty valuable alongside the Make It Rain to help clear out a lot of the 3 health units that you're going to see out of Cephalopod. But I am really curious. I mean, it's a tough decision to make. It's a risk to go for this TF win con, and when you're, on the bubble like he is, you're not really as willing to take risks as you normally would be. You want to play it safer, and I'm not sure if that's going to be a way to beat Cephalopod.
Yeah, it looks like Swim really thinking over his options here, actually passing back. Going to wait for more of a commitment out of Cephalopod before doing anything. All right. So, I mean, are you kind of forced into playing, something like Deckhand into Make It Rain here just to kind of remove as many options as possible?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple low rolls. You really want to hit the Doom Beast if you're going for that, but I definitely don't think it's unreasonable. I think what Swim is contemplating is he kind of wanted Cephalopod to have a little bit of a lighter turn, and then maybe he feels safe to go for the TF win con, fire off that pick a card. But it's a pretty big mana commitment given the weak board state that Swim has right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, none of those picket cards heal. So
No,
that's kind
that
of
would be a little much.
the drawback to that game plan is you do need to be at least okay in tempo with Cephalopod, but it looks like we are going to get the deckhand. Now, if this does hit face, we do have the black market merchant that can come down as well to expedite, again, this TF win condition. I don't really necessarily think you want it to hit face. I think you want it to hit Doom Beast and both Lunaris here, and you just have to take that 2 damage from the Night Stalker, Shade Stalker. So we'll see where the Make It Rain, the RNG, gonna play here. Let's see where it lands.
I mean, for those of you that have watched us before, you know that we are hard at work on a Make It Rain fails compilation from all of the tournaments that we've seen. And I mean, Swim could get added to the list here. This wouldn't be as bad of one as we've seen in the past, but I mean, anytime you low roll the RNG when Make It Rain did feel like the correct play, or rather you committed your turn towards the Make It Rain. I saw him go to hover the eye.
Yeah. We both caught that. I'm like, poor guy. Poor guy. Can't hover the eye, man. I wish. Hey. Okay. It's not bad. That's definitely not bad. I think that getting the 2 damage even onto the Shade Stalker is not terrible, because now if you do draw another Make It Rain, it will be able to pick that off. It also will be picked off, very crucially, with a red card from TF if we are able to level the TF going into Cephalopod's next attack turn. So there are ways to deal with it.
What's really important about this hit onto the Shade Stalker is it means that now Swim can attack with the Twisted Fate for free. And if it does connect, if Cephalopod just takes the 2 damage, that turns on the Black Market Merchant and the Pilfered Goods, which not only is that 3 draw, but it's, we're going to go for the Pale Cascade. And now it would be a little bit risky to attack with the Twisted Fate, just because if there is another Pale Cascade, you're actually just running headfirst into your own death. And I think he's going to have to play a little bit safer than that with this.
Yeah, I think at this point, going down to 12 now, you absolutely need your Twisted Fate. You have to rely on this Twisted Fate, hopefully leveling in the next turn. I think, are we at 3 or 4?
I think we're at 3.
So that'll be 4. He needs to draw 4 cards somehow, which he can do.
Yeah.
All he has to do, I mean, he has the 8 mana for both salvage, but I don't know if you just go with both salvage. I think Swim actually, he's taking risk. Okay, I like it.
You can go Merchant Salvage, and that'll level you on your draw, right? No, you would need one more.
You need one more, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, you can go Merchant Pilfered and then Salvage on as your first action on the next turn.
Yeah.
I think that pick a card, actually, I mean, you got to play pick a card here, right? Now that we're tapped out to the Traveler, man, you got to pick a card, unless
Merchant.
No, there's nothing here that kills the Twisted Fate. Not.
Yeah, no, we're good. This is Merchant card all the way.
Another draw spell.
That works too. I mean, if anything, that's actually a 1 mana prop for his effect next turn.
And that does mean that he can get the 4 draw while playing this. Okay, gets an Unspeakable and a Crescent Guardian. Things looking pretty good for Swim here. So TF's now at 6 out of 8?
Yeah, I believe so. I think we just play the Stalking Shadows and we're good, unless he wants in response to something next turn.
Not sure why he'd go for... I mean, it would activate the Unspeakable Horror, so maybe that's a consideration. The pick a card has me a little worried. I generally don't like to play pick a card if it taps me out of spell mana.
Yeah, I was going to say the same exact thing. That feels really bad.
But at the same time, I feel like most of the spells in my deck have been played. I'm really just... It is a little bit weird to me that we're now firing it off after we got all this nab out to sort of refuel and, you know, get rid of the second Twisted Fate in case this first one does die. But we are going to start off the turn with the level TF and definitely enough cards in hand to get to the gold card at fast speed even.
Yeah, this is huge for Swim, and this might allow him to just straight up prevent any and all damage that's going to happen from here on out. And unfortunately, though, that Pale Cascade I still think was a pretty big deal on the Shade Stalker because it won't die to red card, which means it still might be able to push through damage unless he has a different way to deal with it. Like, if we can get red card out and then follow parlay onto it, that might work because gold card won't target it currently. So that's definitely a consideration I think Swim needs to worry about, is getting rid of that elusive unit. But we'll see what Cephalopod opens with first, though, because that could change everything here for Swim. Oh,
Fading
yeah.
Memories. Okay, I thought we were looking at maybe like a Meteor Shower onto the Twisted Fate. We did just invoke that Celestial, so could have been Comet as well. But Looks like we're going
No.
for a Nightfall play, and it's Nocturne.
Okay. So Nocturne going to come out. Now, I guess, is there any way to not just get all the wild cards off, but also protect the Twisted Fate here? My gut is telling me no, just quickly looking.
But my body is telling me no as well. I think he can only push 3 damage onto the Traveler, which would not be enough to kill it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this Twisted Fate is going to die here. And that's why I was a little surprised at the pick a card, just because you already had the tools to draw enough spells to level the Twisted Fate. And what you did is you got rid of your backup Twisted Fate. And I know that Cephalopod told you time and time again, hey, Swim, buddy, I don't have an answer for this Twisted Fate. You're good to just pop off with it. But does actually find a Nocturne and now says, okay, yeah, I'm just going to kill this. Buddy has a draw.
See how he orders this. Looks like, okay. So he's considering prioritizing the do think he needs to do, which is why we're seeing this parlay onto it now. I feel like you could order that better, though. And okay, this concerns me.
Oh, now he can kill it.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Well, not in comp. We would have needed to open with the parlay onto it, actually.
Well, no, we could. Okay. Well, now we got 2 warning shot. He could still kill it in combat.
The Traveler?
No. I'm talking about the Shadestar.
Oh, no, I don't think that. I'm pretty sure we're attacking the Twisted Fate with the Traveler so that it dodges the gold card. I was trying to figure out if there was any way we could get this Twisted Fate delivered. I mean, we do still have a fair amount of draw in our hand with the salvage, so it's not unreasonable for us to go find the second Twisted Fate. It is a little concerning that we don't really have a win con after this TF dies. We haven't found... we haven't found a Riptide Rex. We haven't found another Twisted Fate. We've used up the blue card on the TF, so that's as much digging for the turn as we're going to get. And actually, Cephalopod gives us the opportunity to kill this. Okay, so that's not going to work how you want it to, Swim.
Yeah, wait, I think he needs to be really careful with how everything is ordered here, because I know from experience, we've casted plenty of games. The way TF's cards stack can sometimes mess with you, and I don't know if this is the proper order.
I mean, he hovered the eye and saw that the Traveler is going to survive and be able to attack. He did sort of throw an extra spell at this. He actually threw 2 extra spells at it. Neither the Parlay nor the Stalking Shadow or the Unspeakable Horror are actually going to touch this Nocturne. It's going to die to gold card, red card.
Yeah, wait, did he just straight up mess that up? I think he just flat out.
I mean, he literally hovered the eye, so like he knew how this was going to play out and still confirmed the action. So unless he didn't understand that the Traveler wasn't going to be stunned there, but I mean, when you see it as a 3/3.
So I'm just watching Swim in his cam there. I don't know if it's just it's been a long day, etc. But I think it's just the game is starting to get to him. I think that the day might be starting to get with him because he just seems a little bit flustered with some of the plays that he's making right now, which I mean stands to reason. I do think that was just straight up misplay there on that Nocturne, not really thinking out how the Twisted Fate cards would go on the stack there, and now just kind of putting himself in a really bad spot. He's definitely by no means out of this game, but it's gonna be hard for him to just easily take this one.
Yeah, I'm not loving his chances unless he can find a Riptide Rex really soon. He's not even going to have this Ezreal available. Not that this Ezreal's leveling anytime soon anyway. Not a realistic win condition, but I think the Mystic shots would have had, a fair amount of value in just picking through this board, especially since we are killing the last elusive this turn, or at least have the option to. We have the Unspeakable Horror. The other elusive is Ephemeral. This Ezreal should be able to sneak through.
Yeah,
but we're just... Oh, my... Cephalopod...
Why would you do that? He really wants to damage.
Yeah, but I mean, what are you going to do? The only thing you would be playing around is a 1-mana Unspeakable Horror that Swim stole from you. And we know that he has it. But, if you're not thinking about those specific situations, then this makes a fair amount of sense. And we're even going to see all of the mana used. So Swim going to get kind of bailed out here by Cephalopod's attacks. And we are just going to see the Twisted Fate live for the following turn. And I think that should secure it in Swim's favor.
Yeah, I mean, he is. Well, here's the thing, though. We say that'll secure it, but we're taking 6 to the face. All right, we're taking 6 to the dome. And Cephalopod, we saw, is a master of RNG. He is a master of top decking atrocities with Diana for the win. That is totally plausible that we see that again in this situation.
The problem is that Diana would die to the red card, gold card if Swim just wanted to throw a couple of warning shots onto the stack. And I mean, let's talk about this. Swim has a lot of damage on board. Cephalopod's probably going to have to block with both of his units to not die to the triple warning shot red card.
Yeah, this is actually has a really wide board, so he could just threaten lethal on this turn. But we'll see how he orders this. Yeah, the 3 warning shots, plus that's at least 4 damage. All right, Swim, you just have to make sure you are paying attention to where these Twisted Fate cards go on the stack. It's a pain in the butt. Let's see if he's able to do this properly. He is roping every turn too, which unfortunately, and when you rope, it stinks, right? Because
So
if you are actually trying to think of your plays, you get pressured into doing something that you might not want to do, and I think that's what's happened.
I don't know if Swim knows this, but you can't actually burst pass with Twisted Fate on the field.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that interaction.
It looks like Cephalopod did just pass right back over. I was curious to see if we were going for the 1 spell mana so that we could Stalking Shadows and try to find a Riptide Wreck. No, we're just going full aggro here. And the lack of response from Cephalopod is a little scary. It does imply that there could be some kind of lethal coming out, but definitely not going to be the case down to 7 mana. Atrocity and the buff spells necessary to get it done are out of range. And I think that despite all of the funky plays we saw here in the last couple of turns, Swim should be able to pick this one up regardless.
Yeah, it's by the skin of his teeth, man. This is definitely a rough one. Take a couple deep breaths after this going into the next game. Because again, Cephalopod is out. Cephalopod cannot, Cephalopod's out of this. So Cephalopod really is just playing to try to get Swim out. And Swim just needs to win to at least, if there's tiebreakers, it is what it is. But Swim is the only one that can falter here. So let's see if this attack is going to be enough. I don't think it's quite lethal here, even with the warning shots. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's a little short.
I would say that Cephalopod has something on the line. If you go home 0-3 in the round robin stage, you're getting roasted in every group chat you're a part of. And I'm pretty sure he's a part of a good number of them.
Well, he did get invited in the first place, right? So
yeah, but when you go 0-3 in a group, I'm going to roast you in the group chat. That is the nature. I've been roasted in the group chat for it before, too. Wait, no, I haven't. I mean, I never had like a round robin style tournament I was going through, right? 0-3, and it looks like we got an update. Winding God has won his match 2-1 and will be moving on with a 2-1 record. Really well suited to go into the top 8.
Yeah, so that means Shikamaru going 3-0, Winding God going. Shikamaru and Winding are going to be the 2 people advancing from Pool 1. So now this is the pool we are in, Pool 2 here with Swim. So no tiebreaker. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure. If I can read this random checkerboard of games.
Well, there could be another 2-1 unless we have 2-1-2s.
It looks like Sharkwe went 0-3, and it looks like Random went 1-2, if I'm reading this correct.
Oh, that's true. I guess I misread how a 3-0 impacts that. But back to the game at hand, Cephalopod has managed to survive the turn. We don't quite have lethal out of Swim just yet. The unfortunate part of the red card is you only get 1 of them per turn. I think at this point he would love to just switch Twisted Fate over to give me 3 red cards a turn. But that is not how this works, and that does mean that Cephalopod gets to hang on just a little bit longer. Are we going for the Grifter? Are we going for the Riptide Rex? I think either one is going to be lethal more or less.
Yeah, we'll see. This is still close. I'm trying to think of what Cephalopod ends up kind of drawing as a top deck or something to get himself out of this. He does only need to deal 7 damage. Weird Cygnus play work. I think with the Twisted Fate on the field, it never does. I think
as long as Cephalopod is under 6 mana and has I think the Cephalopod needs to stick a unit and then go into a turn in order to have a chance. And Swim is not letting him do that. Even though he's used all his cards here, I mean, we could just see a Thermo Beam come down onto whatever Cephalopod plays. Have we seen the Celestial that was invoked by the Traveler? Or, I mean, even the Lunari Priestess last turn, Cephalopod could just, play a Great Beyond. It wouldn't be enough. The red card would... Oh, no, it would be enough depending on how the stack worked out because the gold card goes first if it's all in the same stack.
We'll see if he nabbed a Great Beyond. I know a Great Beyond seems to be the popular, as it is a loose spell shield. Tends to do a lot of work, but Yodel Grifter, in the meantime, going to grab another warning shot. It looks like it will. That's another 3 damage, just one off of as it currently stands.
But that means that as soon as this round ends, Swim has lethal.
Yep. That red card is going to go on the stack, and Swim is looking like he's going to be able to take game and go up 1-0 versus Cephalopod. And we do have, just as a date for anybody wondering, we do have Yatsa playing Nola Gold. So if Nola Gold wins versus Yatsuba, that means it will be flat out Nola Gold and Swim, if Swim wins, going to day 2 tomorrow. If Nola loses, we are in for a whole slew of tiebreakers. So we'll see how that game goes. I'm going to try to get an update for everybody while we continue watching Swim's game here.
All right, so the Immortal Fire, this one is a little bit more vulnerable to the gold card, but as we mentioned, it doesn't matter because Swim can just warning shot and get the red card off. There's no heal in this deck for Cephalopod outside of the Unspeakable Horrors, so I think that's why Swim is going for this Yordle Grifter, just making sure that he gets that extra warning shot, so that if there is an Unspeakable Horror, he is going to kill him through that, though. I wouldn't have had a problem going for the gold card anyway, so yeah, Swim just going to be able to pick up game number 1 here in short order. Picks up an Ezreal as well, the namesake card of the deck that has been pretty much absent. TF, that's why we put it first. It's Twisted Fate Ezreal, not Ezreal Twisted Fate.
Clearly TF, the win con we're going for here, but an update. Nola Gold and Yatsuba are currently going into game 3 tied 1-1 right now. And it's going to be the Fiora Shen mirror match in their game 3. So I'll try to keep everybody updated once that ends.
Okay, so it looks like he actually did have the Unspeakable Horror. So Cephalopod not going down without a fight, but I mean, we have the gold card as well. And this ain't Swain. This will actually stun it in combat, even find the Make It Rain for the extra lethal if we really want to. And with Cephalopod totally tapped out, no reason not to. Gonna throw that one out. All right, so we've got Nola and Yatsuba at 1-1. We've got Cephalopod and Swim at 1-0 with a Swim lead. Let's see what game number 2 has in store for us.
Yeah, this is going to be close. And again, there could be tiebreak depending on what happens here in Nola Gold versus Yatsuba in that Fiora Shen mirror match coming up in just a moment. And Swim and Cephalopod here. I'm really curious to see what was banned. I would, as usual, I'm sure you guys can all guess the deck that I want to see. The deck that I want to see is Lee Sin, because I don't have enough Lee Sin in my life. We didn't have enough Lee Sin in our lives today in the NA side.
I've had enough Lee Sin in my life. The deck came out. I was trying to play it on ladder to learn its matchups, and guess what? I just got bodied over and over and over again. The Taric is not the way. Everybody else figured that out. I was stubborn about it.
Oh, man. Yeah, Taric doesn't seem to be the best way to play it. And what I will say is Swim taking a pretty original Karma Lee Sin approach, and that one seeming to work out okay. So it'll be curious to see if we do get that here going into game 2. And curious to see if we get the same Nightfall aggro deck from Cephalopod as well. And like you mentioned, Cephalopod kind of playing for his reputation a little bit here. Doesn't want to be that guy that went 0-3 in the second portion of the pools here in day 1. That would feel a little bit bad. And Swim, like I'd mentioned previously, I think this would be huge for Swim, even just being able to make this day 2 here, kind of going up against the top names into this tournament, proving himself as one of the top competitors here and advancing.
Yeah, Swim, when it comes to big tournaments, Swim does like to show up. He doesn't want anybody to think that just because he's not entering the open tournaments, it's not from a lack of capability. It's because he doesn't want to. It's not that he can't do it. It's just that he doesn't need to. You know, he gets better stream numbers when he streams ladder, I guess, is a big part of it, I would assume. But yeah, you know, he is one of the top tournament players when he actually does want to show up and perform. He got second at the first Twitch Rivals. He won his sort of top seeded pool at the second Twitch Rivals, and he's got a pretty good shot at making it into the top 8 and then potentially going all the way here in this invitational.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to clarify, as much as we're saying that Cephalopod is playing to not go 0-3, by no means does that make anybody think Cephalopod is any less of a player, because, oh my God, this man has been incredible in the Legends of Runeterra space. But like Boulevard said, it's almost entirely to ensure he's not roasted for this foreseeable future. So I definitely feel the pain there. Hopefully he is able to not go 0-3. But at the same token, I don't know whose side I'm on now. Like, I don't want stuff, but I do want Swim to advance to day 2. That's a tough one.
You got to pick a side here. Well,
I know.
actually, you don't. That's not really our job.
Well, no, technically, I could say I'm on neither side, and then they go to tiebreakers, and Swim still makes it. So then Seth is able to win, and Swim still makes it. But we'll see if that's the path that we go down after Nola Gold and Yatsub again.
So Swim gonna discard one of his karmas, and he does only play 2 karma. So the karma infinite reshuffle is already off the table here on turn number 1.
Yeah, we are gonna see this Lee Sin deck. Let's go. Pretty excited about this. Gonna take 3 damage to the face here early on, though, and already see a lot of Celestial generation in Swim's hand, right? So I'm curious to see how those cards are going to impact the game here in these early turns, because I imagine we will see the Trickster come down pretty early, start pushing possibly some early damage. But more importantly, the Trickster will trade quite nicely with something like the Lunari Shadestalker, which we saw in the TF Ezreal game. Those were kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah, it looks like Seth is going to float turn 2 again. Doesn't really like getting down the vanilla Shadestalkers in this matchup, I would assume, especially when you're staring down an Eye of the Dragon. You really don't want those Dragonlings to continuously block that out. You do need to be able to go over them. But, I mean, this is not sort of the matchup where you can go for the big combo Atrocity turn. This is one where you're going to have to lean on Cygnus a little bit more, but even then, you're staring down Will of Ionias and Concussive Palms. But there's not a whole lot for Swim to deny in this matchup, so you have to assume that the Atrocity play pretty unlikely to ever work out. And I mean, overall, I'm not loving the look of this matchup for Seth on paper, especially with this Eye of the Dragon coming down turn 2 for Swim.
Yeah, actually, so there's 2 cards. There's Unspeakable Horror and Atrocity. One is definitely going to be saved for Atrocity. I highly doubt you deny this Unspeakable Horror here. Although I imagine it's being set up to eventually get killed, this Eye of the Dragon, because this Eye of the Dragon will make it incredibly hard for Cephalopod to push through lethal. But the other consideration on the side of Cephalopod is some of the Celestial cards. There are plenty of Celestial cards that could be denied by these 2 denies in hand from Swim. So we'll see if those ever come into play at all in this game.
Yeah, without this Unspeakable Horror having the Nightfall active, I don't think you ever take this deny. I'm pretty sure getting down the Messenger is much more appealing. I would assume that Seth is going for a Diana, and that's why we're opening with this so that we can get the Challenger onto her and actually finish off the Eye of the Dragon. And it looks like Swim actually decides that the deny is worth it, says that the Diana play is just a little bit too scary for me. I don't want to lose my Eye of the Dragon. This is my best chance at surviving the early game, and as long as I can make it to the mid to late, I should be favored.
So, okay. The only thing I can think that Swim decided to play this deny for is like we just said, there's not a whole lot of options to play the deny. He has the other in hand to play if something like an Atrocity comes out. So I think he's okay using it now. And yeah, that feels really bad to have this Crescent go down now. It's going to punch through a good amount of damage on the side of Cephalopod. And unfortunately, the side of the Dragon, sure, you saved it, but it ain't getting no Dragonlings next turn. So it's not really going to provide you any immediate value or life gain. It's really just going to give you this blocker here for the Solari Soldier and doesn't even trade with it.
No, I mean, this is sort of the power of a deck like this. You have options. You know, if we don't see a deny onto this, then I get to play Diana and kill your Eye of the Dragon. But if you do, you know, play a little wild and throw the deny onto it, I have a Crescent Guardian, and you don't have a great answer for that. I mean, he doesn't have any stuns available just yet. He is going to be able to get down this Trickster, as you had mentioned, but that's still just going to trade with the Crescent Guardian and take some damage. So Swim pretty tight on mana going into this turn, and Cephalopod has put his foot on the pedal and is gassing down Swim's life total so far here.
I could feel you losing track.
Yep, I was losing it. I was losing it so hard, but we brought it back.
I've had that happen so many times. I feel the pain, but you made it work. Solari Priestess, a potential here for Swim. We also do have Guiding Touch. So this cantrip that Boulevard absolutely hates will at least provide 2 health to Swim here. Do a little
anecdote every cantrip with that.
Basically, every time a cantrip gets played now, it's just your fault. So
or doesn't get played.
doesn't get played. Well, the other thing too with guiding touch specifically in this matchup and just in general with Eye of the Dragon is it's a pretty easy proc to get this Dragonling with the Eye of the Dragon. That's if it survives. I mean, Cephalopod might have another Unspeakable Horror to come down on this Eye of the Dragon to just take care of it anyway. So we'll see if that ends up happening. Right now, we could very easily Behold the Infinite, Guiding Touch, boom, you get the Dragonling for next turn. But still in a pretty bad spot, still staring down this Crescent Guardian right now, which is threatening. I mean, with 2 1/1s on board, it's threatening solid 4 damage.
Yeah, and I mean, you could Guiding Touch to start the turn and see if you can draw into one of your stun effects, but if you don't, then you've taken your Solari Priestess off the table for the turn. You can get the Trickster down after the fact, but not loving what I'm looking at here. Spacey Sketcher, I'm not even sure what we would discard. I would assume it's going to be Behold the Infinite, but it's actually going to be the Deny.
Yeah, ooh, Crescent Strike, a pretty good pickup on the side. I almost called Swim Fussy Ian because of his name, but I promise his name is Swim. Gonna get the Crescent Strike, which means we can Guiding Touch and Crescent Strike still have spell mana for next turn and be in a really good spot going into turn 6 here. I think this is a great pickup for Swim, especially with this Diana coming down.
All right, and now how much do we value getting a Dragonling on the following turn? This is the first spell. We could throw out one of these cantrips here to turn on that Dragonling, get a little bit of life back into our veins. Is it going to be Behold the Infinite or the Guiding Touch? I think that not discarding the Behold the Infinite does mean that we want to play it relatively soon, maybe even here, and just saving the Guiding Touch to see if we need to play that onto our Eye of the Dragon, or if we can throw that at our face. Swim's contemplating it.
Oh, well, it looks like... So I don't hate saving the Guiding Touch because you always want to make it seem like you don't have heals, so you get your opponent to overextend. We do get Meteor, which is also pretty good right now for Swim. That'll be able to take down the Crescent Guardian if needed. Could even take down this elusive Shadestalker. Lots of options for Swim now. We do actually have he can't get it down yet. So this Shadestalker will be able to push through this 2 damage. Unfortunately, not getting the Trickster down in time and the Pale Cascade. This is looking rough for Swim now. I don't know if he'll actually be able to come back in this and gain enough life to stay in this game.
I mean, it really depends on what Cephalopod has. I think that it's very possible that Cephalopod has Atrocity in hand, and watching Swim discard that second Deny meant, okay, we're all in on this Atrocity plan. He already fired off one of them. He discarded the second. It almost would read to me like my opponent has 3 Denies in their hand, but,
yeah,
I mean, he has been hanging on to this Solari Priestess for quite some time. It's not an unreasonable read on the side of Cephalopod, but I mean, he's got the aggro. The board is still really weak on the side of Swim. Still just all 1 health units. And even if this Trickster comes down, that's the blocker that you wanted for the Shadestalker, not necessarily something to trade onto the Crescent Guardian. And now, I don't think any blocks come out onto this Dragonling. It is going to get Swim a little bit healthier, but not a lot. Is still going to feel not super safe to play around with his mana. And I think Meteor Shower has to come down here. Question of Diana or Crescent Guardian.
I was thinking the exact same thing. You took the words right out of my mouth, Boulevard. That's a really hard choice. Okay, Ooh. So this actually is, knowing that Meteor Shower is a thing, this is actually really good by Cephalopod because now Swim will not be able to get the value off 1 damage. He could put it onto the other unit that we're not damaging here. I don't know how much that's really going to matter or impact anything right now anyways, with every other attack won't be able to trade even with damage. But yeah, I mean, what do you prioritize, the Overwhelm or the Diana? The Overwhelm is, but the Diana just provides so much control and tempo. You got to be concerned about that as well.
I feel like it's got to be the Overwhelm at this point. The Diana is going to pick apart your board. It's going to take away this Eye of the Dragon from you. I think no matter what, Swim might just be dead to a Nocturne.
Yeah. I think you might be right here.
I'm sitting here, I'm looking at it, I'm like, Nocturne's looking pretty juicy into a board like this.
Juicy. And the other thing too with Diana is you don't really care about saving much on your board. Like at some point, this Eye of the Dragon is gonna die. Like it's only at 1 health. I don't expect it to stick around much longer. And Diana picking off 1/1s, you don't really care about, right? If anything, it's just blocking the damage that Diana would otherwise do. So I do think killing the Crescent Guardian here, maybe you just pick off the Sketcher because you can now.
Yeah.
You go ahead and get that down. But it will give you another Dragon Link. So there's that. But you're still staring down quite a lot of damage going into the next turn. Golden Sister is a thing that does give Swim some more lifesteal. The question is, do you go ahead and play that now instead of the spell? That's a tough one.
We were 1 mana off Cosmic Inspiration.
Yeah.
I don't know that it would have been correct, but I would have loved to have seen it.
Who doesn't love seeing Cosmic Inspiration? I feel like we always want to see the card played.
4/3 Dragonlings are a great way to stay in a game. But that's not going to be the case. And Swim now contemplating, how do I want to play this one out? I like the Sisters, if for no other reason. It does give him an elusive blocker. And these Shade Stalkers, now that there's 2 of them, looking like a lot of pressure on my life total that I would love to get relieved. You're not really going to get to take advantage of the lifesteal. I do think that is where the Diana is going to aim her sights on the following turn. But Swim sort of set himself up to go for the Meteor Shower by playing the Behold the Infinite to get the 2 spells down for that Eye of the Dragon. But I think he kind of got to shift gears and go for the Sisters here.
Yeah, and I do have an update on Nola Gold. Nola Gold did take it home. So that means Nola Gold went 3-0. So we have 2 different things that could happen here. If Swim does win this game, we do not have tiebreakers. It will be Swim and Nola Gold. If Swim loses, however, we would have tiebreakers, as Yotsuba would also be 1 and 2. So we'll see what happens after this game.
All right. Wait, so Nola's 3-0, right?
Yeah, Nola is
so
3.
Everybody else would be 1 and 2.
No, Cephalopod. If Swim wins, Cephalopod would be 0 and 3.
Yeah, and Swim would be 2 and 1, so we wouldn't have tiebreakers.
Yeah, exactly. And then if
Swim loses, then we have 3 1 and 2s.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So we have 3 1 and 2. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's not just Swim and Yotsuba. It's Swim, Cephalopod, and Yotsuba would all.
And then we got to figure it out. Everybody might still be in this one.
Yeah, then that's going to be a hell of a tiebreaker.
A little surprised at the Equinox onto the Golden Sister. I thought that we were just going to challenge that with Diana if we could, but it looks like he doesn't have the burst speed activator. So now we are going to get the Meteor Shower down. And as you had mentioned, we throw out the block with the 1/1, so maybe that's something he was playing cognizant of. So he throws the Silence onto the Golden Sister in case the Meteor Shower does come down and Diana is the target rather than the Crescent Guardian, which wouldn't be unreasonable if the lifesteal had been left on this card, but Swim's still not looking like he's in a great spot. Can play 2 spells this turn, clear out a bit of the board, gain a little bit of life, get that Dragon Link for the following turn. But it still feels like this one is slowly slipping away from him.
Yeah, we do have some more heal. I mean, we still have this Guiding Touch that has just been hanging out in hand for so long. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. We need some more heal on the side of Swim. He is running 2 Star Shaping. I feel like, we're like 1 Star Shaping away from Swim, I think, really getting back into this game, because that's going to give him plenty of heal.
Oh boy, here we go. Pale Cascade, that's going to turn on the Diana, give her Challenger, and that could mean we're going to take the Silver Sister to the side and go in for 6 elusive damage with the Shade Stalkers, as well as this Crescent Guardian. So Swim could be falling down to as little as 2 here if this Diana does come in at the Silver Sister. And I think that Swim would be inclined to throw out this Guiding Touch. Okay, we're going to let Swim play a card.
Yeah, this seems weird. So now I feel like you always play Meteor Shower here, right?
I think that Ceph really wants him to Meteor Shower and then wants to play a Nocturne. And there is the Nocturne. Okay. Because if you can attack with the Nocturne, it levels here. You have 5 Nightfall units on field.
Okay, so this actually, holding back that Meteor Shower actually saves the game, at least for now, for Swim. And he does have 2 heal left. He's still going to go really low. This is going to be super risky. He will have the lifesteal from the Golden Sister next turn, though.
No, he won't. That's silenced forever.
Oh, why did I think that was hushed for some reason?
Hush should be a wild way to start off the turn. Yeah, no, that was Equinox.
Yeah. What? All right, never mind. Sorry, Equinox. So will not get the lifesteal. So yeah, I really think Star Shaping is going to just need to be drawn here on the side of Swim to keep him in this and keep his life total nice and healthy. But we do see the Meteor Shower come out
I don't
for the time being.
I don't think Star Shaping does anything because that's your whole turn.
I mean, well, going into the attack turn for Swim, yeah. What else?
I think he needs to draw a couple stuns. Get Concussive Palm, stun out a unit, get another blocker on board. But no matter what, he's really struggling to deal with these Shade Stalkers. And even now that he has gotten the Nocturne out of Cephalopod, I mean, the Spacey Sketcher wasn't representing anything. You're still taking 6 elusive damage on top of whatever overwhelmed damage gets pushed through by this Crescent Guardian. And honestly, it's just looking really rough for him here. Doesn't have the capabilities to top deck a stun at this point. And Cephalopod still got 3 mana. If there's something like another Crescent Guardian in hand, this could just be lethal here.
Yeah,
I think it would still be one off, but no, it would be lethal. Actually, it would be lethal. Yeah.
Curious to see what Swim is going to go ahead and try to do here. It's man, even stuns I feel are just going to delay the inevitable. Yeah, do think is going to go right away there.
I think that means Swim lives at 2.
So this is
pull the elusive. Oh no, we pulled it because it has vulnerable now.
Now the 5 hits. Yeah, this is going to be this looks.
Yeah, I forgot about the vulnerable. That's my bad. And yeah, that's 10 damage represented by Cephalopod. There's 2 heal in the hand of Swim, and that is not going to be enough. So Cephalopod going to tie this one up 1-1, and we get to see what second deck he gets to whip out to try to take on this Karma Lee Sin that you had wanted to see so badly.
So good thing that Cephalopod and everybody else is playing out this bracket, because as of right now, as we just went over, Cephalopod, if Cephalopod is able to get a victory here, that actually puts 3 players at 1 and 2, which means we have a 3-player tiebreak, which is a very big deal. This is Nola Gold just ran this bracket going 3-0. All right, so if nobody could tell in the hint of the thumbnail, yep, Cephalopod took it home. So we do actually have one more game. The way the tiebreakers are going to work is Swim has to play Cephalopod again. And then the winner of that actually has to move on and play Yatsuba to actually advance to day 2. So then the winner of that versus Yatsuba actually advances. So still a ways to go now, thanks to Cephalopod shooting down Swim's dreams there. So we'll see who will advance after the next game. So again, subscribe, turn on the bell. That way you get notified when game number 2, or sorry, I should say match number 2 of Cephalopod versus Swim goes live. But as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.